to go racing. The flag waves and the race is underway. It's an excellent start from pole position by Rob Hall, who's got away very effectively. A bit of a poor start by Andy Wallace, a bit further down the field there by the looks of things to me. But they are getting down into the first corner at Madgwick, trying to work out where the dry, where the wet, what line to be on. And so far, so good. Everybody managing to stay on the tarmac, which is the crucial part. But what a good start by Rob Hall, who's taken that pole position, got away well, and has got the advantage. But there's a good battle going on behind. John Spears is now up into second position, number 88, under threat from the number 24. That's the Roger Wills, James Davidson car. Roger Wills driving it at the moment, and Roger, I think, is going to squeeze past.
Yeah, lovely move. And Roger started in 5th place. He started on the 2nd row. We got a drone camera showing us a great shot of them filtering through the second part of St Mary's. The 88 running slightly wide. We've got our onboard car now, giving us a great view of attacking the Spears and Greensall car as they come into Levant corner. And everyone keeping it nice and clean, nice and calm and steady for this opening lap so far, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. And missing out a little bit, Saif Sam, who started on the front row, number 17. He's dropped back a little bit, but we've got others moving up. And this number 1 car particularly started down in 9th place on the grid and now charging up. And I think Ollie Bryant's in the car at the moment, in fact, and making up a good bit of ground and really gaining up amongst the front runners and going to be into the battle for the lead. Oh, off has gone the Sandler that I was talking about. What a shame. The number 22 car, is it just stuck on the grass now with the wetness, or they're trying to get it out of the way, but it's not quite working. As meanwhile, could be another pass. No, it's not a pass a second just yet. But Ollie Bryant really pushing on hard in the number 1 car. A little bit of slipping and sliding. You can see it's still not dry, and you've got to be challenged. And here comes the number 24, Roger Wills. Roger Wills coming down the inside to take the lead. Yes, he's managed to do it.
Yeah, slides down the inside into the first corner. So Lotus climax 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Lister Jaguar, the 88, there you just saw in the background, is in 4th place. So we've got a very good battle. And see that the number 1 car, the Smith and Bryant car, our onboard car now, sails down the inside as they've made their way through Ford Water. Next up will be St Mary's, which is the fast right-hander, then quite quickly into the left-hander.
Sign hands up, that presumably means there's a yellow flag in that area. That's normally a driver indicating they've seen the flag. I couldn't quite spot it, but there's no flag here, so perhaps presumably they're still back to full racing in another part.
Yeah, I think we've just got the yellow flags. I'm sure I saw them here on the outside. That will be where the Majoub car, the number 22, there's the green flag now, so back underway. They can go full gas again. You can see the number 1 shining the lights down on the Hall car in front. The gap across the line. The 88 now sliding down the inside, and we have a safety car, Ben. So safety car is going to halt these overtakes for now. However, our timing screens are saying it's a safety car, but looking for the drivers, they're still trying to make moves.
He's given it back. Sensible. He's just seen the flags and the board, the SC board, and he's realised, oh, I can't overtake. So he backed off. That was well played. Won't get any kind of penalty for that, I am sure. So leading is Roger Wills. As you say, it's a Lotus mix of leaders at the moment. They are suiting these conditions absolutely perfectly. The delicate, very pretty Lotus Climax cars, not as powerful as the Lister Jags, but the Lister Jags, despite getting off the line, they just haven't really been able to deliver the power with the slipperiness of the circuit. So the safety car, a rather beautiful safety car, E-Type Jaguar, ready to take them all along at a sensible pace and gather them all together while they do some car rescuing. Now, we've got a chance to look back at the start of that race with a bit of onboard action. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, so a great launch off the line. See, some of them around didn't get the best of starts, and already this car is up to P2, a lift of the throttle, just trying to feather through the traffic. There is the number 17 car, tucking it down to the inside. So the 88 is gone, that you can see up front, got a really good start. And then just trying to make sure you take a risk if you go around the outside, but really lovely done, lovely stuff. And you can just see the constant corrections that these drivers have to make in these wonderful bits of machinery through Ford Water there, which is a much tougher corner in these very slippery conditions. A bit of jostling for position as we head down into the first part of St Mary's. The 88 gives room, very sensible. The Spears and Greensall car gave room. And you can see the understeer just starting to kick in. And you go for throttle and it's squirms all over the place, but the Smith and Bryan car all over the back of the Lister Jaguar. And there, unfortunately, is Julien Majou's car. So I wonder if something's broken there, because he was just having to turn the wheels of that of his car to get it in, to get it to turn instead of using the wheel. Maybe, but they're getting it into a much safer position now. So this is the cause of our safety car. We're not sure, Ben, how he's ended up there, what happened, if there was contact with another car, but huge disappointment so early on in the race.
Yeah, it is a great pity, and it's a lovely car. He wasn't very far up the grid, but it is in a safe place now, so hopefully we won't be under safety car for too long. That onboard that you were talking through was wonderful, and Ollie Bryant, who is in the #1 car, from the start, so he started in 9th place, and he was almost challenging for the lead by the end of that lap, of course, but effectively, but then we had the safety car, he had to back out. So it's been a very rapid move up the order, and we should be in for still a very entertaining race once they get up to top speeds again. Up front, Rob Hall, who has that commanding point, but not by very much. Well, he had that commanding point early on. He's dropped back down a little bit. So at the moment, that leading car of Roger Wills is doing a fantastic job, but I think he's going to come under a lot of pressure, Roger, from Ollie Bryant once we get this race back underway. A few cars down towards the back, and here we go. We are back to racing. Safety car in, we're on to green flag, so now we're straight back into it, and it is Roger Wills in the white number 24 leading the race, but not by very much, from the green #1. Both are the Lotus cars that have been so impressive in these conditions, I have to say, and Ollie Bryant's putting some more pressure on.
Yeah, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. Is the 24, the Wills and Davidson car that come through Ford Water now. See constant corrections being made by the drivers behind the wheel. Is he going to have a little look? Is he going to be brave enough to go down the inside? It's a very risky move, but no, thinks better of it. And we'll have to wait now, I would say, going up the bank corner. They go through the second part of St Mary's. Our drone camera catching some fantastic shots. So here we go. Is he going to have the pace to just sneak it down the inside, or is he going to wait for the even longer back straight, which will head down into Woodcote corner? Yes, thinks better of it. Takes a little bit of a wider line to get the cut back through. He'll slip right behind in the slipstream of our race leader.
Yeah, let's see if he can make that work, because it was this area that he was lined up to overtake before we got the safety car out. He's not as close as he was that time, in fact. And Roger Wills has done a good job of holding on, getting a good exit as they come down the straight. This is always a challenging place to try and overtake, because you've got a double apex right-hander as you come down into Woodcote. Can you find a way past? Trying around that outside line, but it's a bit of a tricky one. Ollie Bryant looking for the space, but very nicely driven by Roger Wills up front. Is there a line into the chicane? Not quite. So again, Ollie's going to have to wait. Can he get a good exit? Early on the power on exit. And in fact, Roger Wills had a bit of wheel spin, had to control it. In fact, they both got wheel spin, and it shows you just how slippery it still is.
Yeah, it's slippery as a snake as they head all the way up the straight here. You can see how difficult it is to keep these cars in a straight line in these conditions, just going up the main straight, so through into Madwick corner now. I'm really enjoying this onboard. We're going to see how hard these drivers have to fight. Where he's just biding his time, Ollie Bryant, waiting for the best opportunity. There's still 51 minutes of the race remaining. Of course, it's a two-driver race. They will come in at some point to make the pit stop, but he's looking very close now. But he's going to brave it round the outside, heading into St Mary's. He's going to make it stick. I think just about. Great move by Bryant.
Oliver Bryant has taken the lead at the Sussex Trophy. That was a lovely move round the outside, and as much as it's been pressured and it took a little while to find a way past Roger Wills, Roger could not fend him off at that stage. So Ollie Bryant has taken the lead. Now, are they going to stay together? Are they going to continue to pull away a little bit from the opposition? John Spears is currently in that third place in the first of the Listers, the very smooth-shaped Lister Jaguar. But let's have a look at this move once again that you were talking about, Alice. And it was a very quick run through Ford Water. And then as they come down towards St Mary's, he's got that perfect outside line, brakes a little bit later, and he's able to take the line into the first part of St Mary's before the left-hander.
Yeah, you can see just desperately trying to give it some squirts of throttle to get it round. So he's already stretched his legs a little bit at best of anybody in the first sector. A big improvement in the middle sector as well. And you can see getting out of shape coming through the exit of Woodcote, but gets it stopped. Our poor tyre barrier there on the right-hand side of the drivers has seen many collisions throughout today. There's the number 5 car that was our pole sitter. Unfortunately, no more. Has fallen slightly further down the order, down in 4th place at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving out a little bit, but maybe still in the battle to a certain extent. 6th place is the number 17 car that later on will be taken over by Gordon Shedden. And that could see some big changes, of course. 8th place, the number 23 car that Andre Lotterer will be driving later on as well. So that potentially could be a real front runner. And then we've got a little battle going on there as coming through is the number 26 car. And that means that is again Nicolas Minassian being the starter of the 26 car. The very experienced racer Nicolas Minassian finding a way past the Pearson D-Type. Gary and John sharing that one today. So that is a good game for Nicolas Minassian, but how much further can he go? Meanwhile, this is also a little bit of an attack going on right now for the number 23 car. Johnny Molan was a part of that, but it is actually Bonamy Grimes who's starting the race in the 23 car. Johnny Molan will be taking it on later on, and there you can see the pressure is still on as he tries to find a way past, but it's proving to be a little tricky at that section. But now as we come down towards the right-hander, Lavant, and then onto the straight, that's when there's going to be a good opportunity.
Yeah, and now we have the long, slightly uphill straight that goes into Woodcote Corner, so they'll be looking to time their moves to perfection as the 17 gets a little bit out of shape and flying on through does the Lotus Climax, the smaller, lightweight, more nimble front engine power compared to the Lister Jaguar, the Knobbly, which gets its name from its distinctive and I would say odd curved design. And there, going into Woodcote Corner, our great graphic there, the Grimes and Molan car, and now there's a little bit of a queue starting to form behind the number 17, and the next car to come up behind is another Lister Jaguar Knobbly. The Lotterer car is going to have a look now to try and make their way forward, but they're under pressure from a Lotus Climax, the Minassian and Wood car.
Yeah, and that is Nicolas Minassian who's now putting the pressure on, and he's going to the outside as they head down towards Madgwick, and that's a pretty straightforward pass, in fact. So that's another place gained by Nicolas Minassian. He's now up into 9th position in the number 26 car, having started somewhat further down the field. So it's going well for Nicolas at the moment. It's a question of how much further. They started in 15th position. So now getting himself up into 9th is a good gain, but there's still a bit more work to be done here. 6 laps completed. Remember, this is a full 1 hour race. We've got 46.5 minutes still to go. We're not quite into the pit lane opening period just yet. We've got another little bit of time. It's 20 minutes into the race before they'll be starting to come into the pits for the driver changes, and that of course will be crucial to it all. And it can often be a real case if you get a safety car period at a time when drivers also want to make the change, so that can completely affect the outcome of the race. This is now the battle for 2nd place, however. This is looking pretty close because Roger Wills, who was the earlier leader in number 24, is coming under more pressure again from John Spears.
John Spears was 1 second quicker on the previous lap. You can really see how much that gap has closed down through Woodcote Corner. The large puddle that was there earlier on has disappeared now, come through the final chicane, and it's going to be all over the back of Wills. As you said, Ben, the pit stops will be coming soon, but one thing, if you do catch a safety car, it's great if you time it right, but it's a very narrow, very small pit lane, so it's quite difficult, especially if all majority of cars come in at the same time. There's not enough room for all of them, so you have to time it well, otherwise you'll be waiting for a while. But we go back now to the battle, slightly further down the order.
Yeah, that's right, and just seeing how this all goes as Macari now in the number 3 car. We've got the onboard with him. He's currently running in 9th place, but coming under a bit of pressure now from the number 54, which has moved up very, very effectively as well.
Jarvis and Malvern car.
Yeah, that's Nick Jarvis.
Its way through.
Yeah, Nick Jarvis is making the progress through, according to that, anyway. And making some good moves up the order here. Still some wobbling. It's still pretty slippery out there. There's still a lot of control to be done. I'm surprised we haven't actually seen more cars falling off the track than we have.
Yeah, they're all doing a great job. We're at this greasy stage, aren't we, where you expect the track to continue to dry lines to be formed, but it just seems to then take its time. So extremely slippy conditions. Don't rub wheels, boys. They keep it nice and clean through that part of St Mary's, then into the second one with your Brave. You're going to send it down the inside there. So the queue that was only 3 cars behind the number 17, the Sam and Shedden car, is now got certainly more than 3 as they're all jostling for position. This is a fight for slightly further down the order. It's a fight for 8th place at the moment.
Yeah, it's good fun. Mark Donner is in the number 41 car. He's sharing that with Alex Brundle, who will be taking on a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Nick Jarvis is in the number 54 Lister Chevrolet, and he'll be taking that over, passing that over to Scott Malvern, who's another rapid racer too. So lots to look forward to here. The racing going on between cars right now will continue with different drivers. Still got this battle for 2nd and 3rd, and in fact it looks to me as though they're getting caught a little bit from behind as well by the number... Oh, right, it was the back marker they got past. So it's just these two who are battling for the 2nd place. It's still close between them. Yeah, it was the Ferrari in the background that they had just managed to get past. So the actual next place car is quite a long way back. It is still the number 5 car right down at the back that was on pole position, that Rob Hall is currently driving. But John Spears, in his 70s, he's doing a lovely job in the number 88 car here, really keeping the pressure on in that Lister car that was with a bodywork designed by Frank Costin, brilliant designer in those years. A very smooth, aerodynamically stylish car, the blue and white machine. And well, he's using the toe as well to try and get a little closer and battle harder for that 2nd place.
Yeah, this battle's going to continue for a few more laps. So the number 88 was over a second quicker, but now they've caught up to the back of the number 24 in the Lotus Climax. Unable to find a way through, and the pace has dropped off by over a second. We've still got this battle raging for that is now still 7th spot. They're going to have a little bit of traffic further up the road eventually, so they've spread themselves out a little bit, but still plenty of opportunities to come the way as they try and all make their moves further up the order. Gap at the front though, Ben, 8.4 seconds at the moment, so a large gap. Times aren't, no one's really improving out there as traffic is still starting to get out of the way, certainly for our top 3 drivers who've have come across traffic already.
Yeah, you're right, but not too many incidents, thankfully. We did lose Majoub's car. They got it out into a safe place, of course, early on in this race, but this is so most of the other cars are still running. And we're going to get into some more racing, of course, once they start coming into the pits and having a battle. Oh, as I mentioned, just as I say, not many people have gone off. Well, there you have got a car off. It's the Ben and Justin Mayer's machine, the Cooper Climax T49 Monaco. And thankfully, the car's okay. Justin is actually at the wheel of it at the moment.
Exit of St Mary's, was that? I feel like it possibly was, but managed to, as waved on by the marshals, managed to get itself underway. Here though is our race leader, 8.2 seconds up the road. Not setting personal best at the moment, but as you can see, got a little bit of traffic to deal with. Ollie Bryant doing a great job. He's coming through Woodcote now.
Yeah, doing a very good job, as you say. Those lap times are pretty effective. The others are not far off now in terms of lap time, but the lap time a little bit earlier on was very good to sort of build up that advantage that they've got. 9 laps completed, and we're nearly at 40 minutes now to go. Plenty of time to go. There's a lot that can still happen here, and of course any incident, safety car periods, the pit stops can often go a little bit wrong as well. They have to keep to we are going to see people starting to come into the pits pretty soon, because the pit lane will be opening in a few seconds' time. It sort of depends when you get to the line. You're not quite going to be able to come in yet if you're one of these battling for second place, but behind, I think there will be an opportunity. Yes, pit window has just opened, so there you go, pit lane open, and we will start to see a few cars now heading into the pits, and perhaps handing over to the professional drivers that haven't all started some of these.
And this is what's really good. Sometimes we have got some of the more professional drivers starting in the cars, but others we wait to see the professionals turn up, and the 88 getting a little bit out of shape, still chasing down second place driver. 9/10 was the gap as they crossed the line. There we go, number 24 holding second place spot at the moment. That looks like it might have stretched a little bit more than 9/10 of a second, that they've navigated some traffic. And here we have our first of the pit stops. That is the number 23 that's coming in. That is the Lotus Climax car.
Yeah, and Johnny Mollum's about to get in, so we'll see how Johnny gets on. And
Alex
as you said, we're watching a few of them all heading into the pits now as well. And Alex Brundle ready to go, as you say, in the number 41. That's going to be fun to see how he gets on, because that car was in that top 10 group, very much a part of the battle. And also coming in with our onboard camera, an opportunity now for a changeover. This is fun to watch from the onboard camera, isn't it? Almost getting knocked out of the way.
And you can see, actually, a great shot of how tight and narrow this pit lane is. Gordon Shedden hops into the car now, so we're getting a good host of drivers coming out. So if their non-professional drivers have fallen back slightly, this is the opportunity now for the professionals to try and make their way slightly further up the order. Shedden springs to mind, Lotterer springs to mind, Alex Brundle as well.
Yeah.
He'll be looking to try and make his way back into the top 10 as some of the pit stops are complete, right on cue. They come out of the pits, and Bryant, so our race leader, Ben, he is into the pits just trying to look for his team, and it's so compact there at the end of the pit lane. There you go, watch out for your teammate in the team waving you in. Stops, there's a seat insert that will slide in as well, and the co-driver sometimes opts to help strap the driver in. They're not the easiest things to get out of, but there we go, a change now.
Okay, so, but is that
I think that's Ollie Bryant going.
That's Ollie getting in, isn't it? That is Ollie.
Yeah.
We'd heard that it's not. It's Ollie getting in now. Ollie
the
Bryant.
Confusions of the helmets. Which
Yeah, the helmet colours are virtually the same, aren't they? But it's Ollie. I wonder if that is an Ollie Bryant helmet, actually, that's been borrowed over. So I think that's right. So, in fact, that was a very, very impressive performance from his teammate, who's done a great job to get to that point, hasn't he? Really, really good. And it means that Ollie Bryant's now got a much, much better chance. So Andrew Smith, who did the start of that race and has come in quite early, and now handing over to Ollie Bryant, this is a huge opportunity for them to take the victory. So Ollie now in the car. There's a very similar crash helmet design.
That's what's thrown us, as it looks identical. So the number 24 has now taken over the lead. 36 seconds the gap. That's the 72 going off at part of St Mary's. So just managed to avoid the ban. It's the Cook and Cottingham car a little bit further down the order. They currently lie in 21st place.
Let's have a look, see how it happened.
Just going to lose the rear, I'm guessing, going into...
Oh,
that's a very scary place to go off, and especially when you're going to spin back in front of the traffic. The number 9 doing a good job to avoid, and the 72 doing a good job of not sailing back into the oncoming traffic. Whether that's talent or luck, I'm sure. we'll say it's talent.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So we shall see how that all comes out. But also, you can see Tiffany Dell just joining the track in number 8. That's not one of the front-running cars. That was right down at the back from qualifying. But good to see Tiffany Dell back out there. Johnny Mollum, number 23. He's really putting some performance into the little Lotus, though. And as he's chasing after the number 41 car, that is now Alex Brundle. So you've got two very, very talented drivers here, as they have made their pit stops. But of course, there are plenty that have not made their pit stops yet, and the race lead at the moment belongs to number 24, which is the Roger Wills car that started up front near the front, and was the leader early on in this race. That car is still now back in front, not having made a pit stop, but you're seeing some vital battles that could decide some key finishing points later on. Alex Brundle just here protecting from Johnny Moller. Wider line for Alex. Is he looking for a bit more grip on the outer line as they went through Lavant? And now onto the Lavant straight, where can he go to full throttle as early as he would like? I doubt it. It's all a bit tricky. And even the kink left, slight uphill here. You've got to be a bit wary. Flat out through here, and the drive so straightforward in the wet, not so easy.
No, it certainly isn't. But Alex has been in various different types of machineries this weekend. He's spent a lot of time on track, but a well-known racer, huge amounts of experience and extremely fast as well. So he's back in the number 41, as I said, dropped down slightly further down the order outside the top 10, so he'll be looking to make his way further up back into the top 10, but he's under a lot of pressure from the 23, and he's going to be under pressure all the way down the straight into turn 1.
Johnny Mollum had a bit of an off earlier on today qualifying. There was a problem on the car, actually, I gather, that something went slightly wrong, and there was a bit of damage done. They've repaired that front end, though. They've done a good job with it, and he's going just as quick as ever. There is our race leader, so you can see there's nearly a lap difference, but that's because this car has not yet come into the pits to swap drivers. So the white number 24 car is still leading this race, but hasn't made a pit stop yet, as these two are fighting further down the order. They're actually fighting for what is currently 11th place, but of course that will change considerably once we've got a few more coming into the pits. There are around 6 cars in the top 10 that have not yet made a pit stop up front. 6.5 minutes remaining to make that pit stop, as still Brundle under huge amounts of pressure from Molan. Alex will be soaking it up like a professional, heads up to Lavant corner, gets the car stopped, doesn't feel the need to defend. Molan's having a look down the inside. Alex is fully aware that he's there. Cuts back across, maybe on a slightly better line was Alex, going on the outside, being able to straighten the car up a little bit on the exit. Can see that Alex Brundle constantly fighting the wheel all the way down the straight. So this kink now, which is usually a fairly simple kink, is much tougher when you've got these slippy conditions, as Alex is very good, more comfortable on the brakes down in Woodgate. We've got the 72 that's got more issues, so I wonder if there's an outstanding issue on that car. You can see they've just fired it back up, still in 21st place, further down the order that they would have liked, but back underway. Let's have a little bit, we're getting a replay now of an overtake. So the 54 braves it on the outside, and makes a lovely move as they then file their way. And actually the leader's now in, Ben. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be a crucial stop. Let's see how this goes and how it'll change it for Roger Wills, who has been leading this race. He had an initial advantage, dropped away a little bit in that initial run, but now Roger is jumping out, and it is time for James Davison to take over, and James Davison will have the opportunity now to fight hard, but we're going to be perhaps into a different battle. Oh, look at this, had to go out wide there, Ollie Bryant, because it was all getting a bit tricky going into the chicane. He does make the move on the exit. This could be for the lead effectively now that other car has stopped. This is for the lead, and Ollie Bryant is in front and has now got the lead of the race, but my goodness, had to cut across the grass and managed to get away with it as Davison now comes out, taking over from Roger Wills in the number 24 car. So that's where he comes out. You can see the gap now. He's come out in that 3rd position. Quite a big gap to the top 2 that have gone past. It's around about 14 seconds. But Bryant, who definitely is in the car now, the lead car, the number 1, set at 1:49.3. So setting fastest laps overall. We're going to get a little replay here, Ben. Yeah, let's see how. In fact, Manassian's in the lead car of these two. He hasn't pit stopped yet. Oh, he just felt, oh my goodness, I've got to cut across because I'm almost alongside. It was quite an intelligent thing to do in a way. Yeah. Yeah. You can see the car turned it. Yeah, it was his only option really. That gap was closing quite quickly, so to avoid contact, and we're going to get the onboard. You can see just thinking about it, thinking those reactions, a little bit of shake of the head
as well, but a good idea to cut across the grass. Let's see if he gives a little look. No, focuses his head straight on down the road.
But he did take it straight away. If I was him, I might have just backed off and waited, because you might get, you know, told you've gained an advantage by cutting across and then overtaking. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Minassian will come into the pits pretty soon now, because the pit window is still open, but not for a great deal longer. But this is the lead car. So Ollie Bryant, having taken over from Smith earlier on, who did such a great job. Andrew Smith did a really good job in that early part of the race to take the lead. And now Ollie Bryant's got a pretty big advantage, because the next car that has actually made a pit stop is some, well, we'll see what it is. It was being shown as 13 seconds behind. We'll see actually a bit more accurately this time as the leaders come over. And in fact, Nicolas Minassian is coming in this time. So from second place, this will obviously drop him down the order.
Yeah, I'm sure the track limit brigade will be on the blower complaining about that one, but Minassian's in now. Wood will step into the car. 20 seconds is the gap then, so that's a large gap. The Wills Davidson car will be hoping for a safety car at some point, and that's still a possibility with 29 minutes of this race remaining.
James Wood taking over the car from Nicolas Minassian now. So James Wood, we'll see how he gets on for this second half of the race. But of course, Nicolas Minassian is the true talented driver who got the early stint in that number 26 machine, the Lotus Climax 15. So we shall see how that develops. There is our race leader, and Ollie Bryant, who's had plenty of wins here at Goodwood over the years. He's now got, as you said, a 20-second advantage. He's in a very, very strong position indeed, the way this has worked out. So he's just lapping lots of other cars. He just needs to stay out of trouble now and make sure nothing comes from the stewards after that incident. There's certainly nothing being reported, and it looks as though he's in good form. What we might have, of course, is a bit more of a battle for second and third, although there's a bit of a gap right now. We'll be keeping an eye on Nigel Greensill pace, because he's currently in third place. That's the second place car you're looking at now, number 24. And currently now in that car is James Davidson. The gap between Davidson and Nigel Greensill, as they went over the line last time, was 12 seconds. We all know that Greensill could be very rapid, but I have to say Davidson has just done a pretty decent first stint as well, so this is not going to be easy for Greensill.
Greensill, though, has set a very good first sector, matching the pace of Bryant out in the lead, and he's done a decent middle sector as well, so we could see this gap close down. Remember, we've got traffic that's going to come into play here, so keep an eye on that. Shedden is setting good lap times. We've still got a few cars that need to make some pit stops, Ben. We've got the Pearson, the number 7 car, Birch and Stevens 21 car that's still due to come in the pits. And then the Baratti car, the 77, that is the final car in the top 10 that's yet to make a pit stop, and a few others outside the top 20 that need to come in as well. So majority of the pit stops have been done, but we've got some great battles slightly further down the order. It's very congested going into Woodcote Corner.
I tell you what, though, James Davidson's a very talented Australian driver in that second place. So I think for Nigel Greensill to catch him is actually going to be very difficult.
26 just put, sorry Ben, the 26 just put their hand up. That's the Minassian and Wood car. So I think they may have come into the pits, maybe something not gone their way during the change, maybe a belt slightly loose. So let's have a look, but still more drivers coming in to make the pit stop. You see the mechanic just popping their head in there to see if there is an issue and heading round. Maybe they feel like there's a puncture, or maybe they're pulling out some bodywork. Maybe there's been some contact that we've not seen. Yeah,
maybe, as you say, the driver's obviously concerned about the feeling of the car, having taken it over from Nicolas Minassian. James Wood is definitely not happy. Meanwhile, our race leader is still Ollie Bryant, having taken over from Andrew Smith in the whoa, big slide from behind there. The number 6 Jaguar almost getting out into trouble. Chris Warworth, that is. I mean, Chris is a huge talented driver, but he got into a big slide then.
3.8 litre engine wiggling underneath too much loud pedal, and the number 11
Tom Kristensen right behind
well in a Cooper Jaguar T38. also snaking its way down the straight. So here we go, Ben, and that's some car control right there. That's heart in mouth stuff. I'm sure that the heart rate has definitely increased. It's certainly increased ours, that's for sure.
But he knows he's got Tom Kristensen behind him as well. But Chris is hugely talented, plenty of historic racing success over the years, lots here at Goodwood. And look at the control is wonderful to watch. Now, well far behind is Kristensen, not far. You're watching two highly talented drivers on tricky conditions in these beautiful cars. That wonderful number 6 Jaguar D-Type long nose, and being chased by Tom Kristensen in the Cooper Jaguar 38, the T38 from 1955, the D-Type also from 1955. So they are cars that were very much competitive with each other in the 1950s in the major sports car racing. In the 1950s, sports car racing was almost as, if not more important than Formula One at that time. Sports car racing was a huge deal. And so for the likes of Jaguar and for the likes of Cooper as well, and many of the other manufacturers, it was vital. For Jaguar particularly, of course, because they were selling so many road cars to be successful in sports car racing, which they were. But it's lovely to be able to enjoy this. Further back, got a battle for 7th place. Gordon Shedden is currently in car number 17, and of course Gordon now trying to make up a bit more ground. And right behind him now also is Scott Malvern. So Scott Malvern's another talented driver, great Formula Ford experience from his younger years, lots of victories, and then into other forms of sports car racing. Oh, he's put a wheel on the grass there, Malvern. Managed to get away with it.
Yeah, desperately trying to get through the traffic. This can be where you can gain some time on those that you may be chasing down, or open a gap from those that are chasing behind you. So just trying to navigate the traffic as cleanly, as quickly as possible. Much easier said than done, of course, but he is chasing down the number 17, so hoping that the traffic's going to play into the favour. They've got the 21 in front, that it actually is slowing down, but still part of this race. That's not traffic, my apologies, but Malvern having a look down the inside. He's going to be very brave to send it into Woodcote Corner. No, thinks better of it. I wonder if he's going to try down into the chicane, a bit like we saw Bryant do earlier on. Again, thinks better off it, going to sit, and he's going to wait for this slightly uphill main straight into turn 1, Ben. But you can see constantly, desperately, Scott Malvern trying to get his foot flat to the floor, and he's not going to have quite enough to challenge it into turn 1.
It is fun to watch this, a really good battle between the two of them, and both in different Lister cars of slightly different design, but from that period. Gordon Shedden in this Ex-Ecuria-Cos Marston Gregory car from the 1950s. Into the pits there is the Pearson car. Yeah, so
making their routine pit stops. I don't think that is any trouble as the Shedden and Scott Malvern battle continues.
Yeah, Scott Malvern is still keeping that pressure on, isn't he?
He is,
not
through the first part of St Mary's.
It's not easy for Gordon Shedden to hold off Scott at the moment. We'll see whether he's going to be able to do it. Scott's actually competing in the 2024 Michelin Le Mans Cup GT3 with Porsche, in a Porsche at the moment. Huge amounts of karting and Formula Ford success, as I mentioned, including the Walter Hayes trophies, the festivals in Formula Ford, UK champion, lots of British GTs, and thoroughly enjoying his time in historic racing now.
I'm just chuckling at Scott, desperately trying to get on power to get a good exit up the straight. And Scott Malvern in the Lister Chevrolet is still one of the very few Listers with the original body one. So one of the very few Listers that raced it in that period with either Jaguar or Chevrolet engines. This, of course, got a Chevrolet underneath. It looks like that gap's certainly opened up, so maybe Shedden actually has set a personal best in that middle sector that was over a second quicker than Scott Malvern, but the 26
still in trouble, isn't it?
It's still got some trouble. Now they were pulling just having a little look, there's nothing seems to be rubbing there, because the mechanic was pulling the left-hand side of the bodywork, but he's doing the right thing, putting his hand up to signal to the other drivers behind that he's coming into the pits. But the Smith and Bryant car, 33.9 seconds last time around.
That's
was the
astonishing.
gap. So
Yeah.
stretching the legs, and actually done a personal best middle sector, personal best fastest last sector as well, and nearly matched his best overall as well.
Yeah, absolutely remarkable for a lead that they've got. It's looking great, comfortable. Let's have a look at a moment. So it's an advantage to get past 2 cars in this little battle.
Alex Brundle on the right-hand side there.
And then a chance down in towards Madgwick Corner as well.
Brave on the brakes.
So, very, very nicely done indeed.
I love these camera shots. What great camera shots we've got. One looking forward, one looking behind. We're back on board now. As you can see, coming over the crest, onto the brakes, trying to get the car stopped, trying to get the car rotated, and then the long level straight, slightly uphill now. You can hear it, the tyres scrabbling the grip. Small kink, which is a tough corner, especially in the wet for these historics, and then on the brake where you've got to get the car nice and straight. It's braking and turning, and now I'm having a look at the timing screens, Ben. The Spears and Greensall car is looking to charge down the number 2 car, and they've just set fastest overall of anybody in the first sector, which is 0.4 of a second quicker than the Wills and Davidson car, which is in P2.
Okay, so that is something, a battle for second could be coming along anytime soon. We were just watching Andre Lotterer on that onboard that was making those moves, gaining places and doing a fantastic job. So that was good to watch. Number 41 car that we've been watching, Alex Brundle, still having a good play at the moment. Is he going to be able to fend off Chris Ward? We shall see. Number 88, this car was running well early on, and now Nigel Greensall in it is catching up for a battle for second place. So when they went over the line last time, he was 4.7 seconds behind the second place car, number 24. But I think he's already gaining a little bit more, as you say, because he's doing some very rapid sector times around the lap. New fastest first sector of anybody, and that gap has come down a little bit more. 24 just going over the line. You can see in the background slipping and sliding a little bit on that lap, but he's got it down to 3.7. It's not as though it's miles every lap, but he's gaining bits and pieces, isn't he?
Yeah, so the gap's coming down. Traffic again can come into play. You can hopefully catch it right on a straight, and the driver can't let you through, or you can get stuck in the middle of the corner and you lose precious time. But the track's certainly improving. The Bryant Smith car's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:48.215. Green sectors are pretty much all that's flashing up on our screens at the moment. The Spears and Greensall car just lost some time, 0.8 of a second in that first sector. Again, caught up with traffic, but a majority of the drivers throughout this field, Ben, are setting personal bests. So that just shows cars are clearly getting lighter, less fuel, but also track conditions are improving.
They are improving, but quite slowly. That's what throws me a little bit. They haven't improved very quickly. It's taking time, but yes, gradually, with more going around. In theory, you should be getting a drier line all the time, but these narrow, pretty hard tyres that everybody uses always makes life a bit challenging. So you've got a good little battle going on here between 16 and 41. So you've got Marino Franchitti versus Alex Brundle in this particular little battle. So number 16.
Brundle getting a little bit compromised with some traffic there. He's managed to make his way back up into top 10, just set a personal best last time round, chasing down the Franchitti Patmore car. So he'll be 1/10 of a second was the gap across the line. So he'll be chasing as they're heading up to St Mary's.
Yeah, that number 16 car is the fairly unique Lister Jaguar flat iron. It has a very unique look to it. But as you say, being chased hard by Alex Brundle right now in the number 41, the Lister Jaguar. Slightly different shape, of course. Oh, and he gets a bit of a slide, but sorted out nicely, Alex Brundle. Yeah. Continues the battle.
Great car control. He's in one of only 12 original cars built in 1959. And this car has been continuously raced since 1960. As slightly further up the field, Shedden makes his way through past the 72 that's had a couple of excursions. So just passing a back marker, getting sideways, getting on the gas, and the 72 will slot in behind.
Where is Molan's dropped back a little bit more than he was earlier on. Johnny Molan, number 23, has definitely dropped back a little bit compared to where he was, but yeah, they're still coming over the line. So there's the race leading car of Ollie Bryant after Andrew Smith's great first part of the race, great performance, and handing over to Ollie, who's done a very similar job and setting rapid times. There's a battle right in front of him, so he's got to be a bit cautious here, because when you're into somebody else's battle...
sorry, Ben, this is the Grimes, Molan and Andre Lotterer battle that he's having to split up. So he's already lapping up the order, so he's already lapping 7th and 6th place. Very impressive. Yeah,
Johnny Molan must be thinking, my goodness, how can I be being lapped on this at this stage in the race? We've still got 14 minutes to go, but yeah, sounds like Johnny, you're being lapped right now by the race leader. As we're taking a little look here at the James Davidson Roger Wills machine. James in the car, and he's still doing a good job of holding that gap, but it's down to 2.2 seconds, the gap between himself and Nigel Greensall. Two talented drivers. This could go all the way to be a battle all the way to the checkered flag here, couldn't it?
Yeah, and I think it will be. I think the number 24 got compromised in the last sector with a little bit of traffic. So we're back to the battle between the 23 and 3 cars, as the Lotterer Macari car has a little look down the outside going into Woodcote Corner. That would have been very brave stuff. Thinks better of it. Ollie Bryant still trying to navigate some of the traffic. He's got ahead of him the number 8 car, which will be lapping for the second time round. That's the
Tiffany Dell.
Yeah, Tiffany Dell and Saunders car, and it follows nicely through there. The Grimes of Molan car and goes, thank you very much. And unfortunately, the number 3, the Lotterer Macari car, gets stuck behind.
Yeah, Andre Lotterer, you're on board with Andre. He would have been a bit frustrated there. It wasn't Tiff's fault. Tiff was keeping out of the way, Tiffany Dell. But Andre Lotterer, because of where he met him, he couldn't really do anything else, so he lost a little bit of ground. But Andre Lotterer is still putting a lot of pressure onto Johnny Molan. Meanwhile, here's Nigel Greensall, and he's done another best first sector of anybody, as he's continuing to just chip away the gap for second place here. There you are. That is the battle for second place we're watching right now. The leader has a massive lead over these two, but this fight for second could go all the way to the flag. 12.5 minutes to go, and for the moment, Davidson is holding on. Let's just see what the gap is as they come over the line this time. It's down to 1.6 seconds between them.
It's coming down. It's coming down. Lister Jaguar Costin versus the Lotus Climax 15. The Costin, which is the more aerodynamic counterpart to the Lister Knobbly, and we've got several of those out on track. Lotus 15 Climax, lightweight, nimble, but it's about to come under a lot of pressure. And another good first sector from the Spears and Greensall car.
It's lovely to see this. This car, the number 24, you're looking at, great history. This is a very early Lotus 15. And funny enough, it was raced by Bruce McLaren and by Sid Jensen here at Goodwood in the TT on the 13th of September 1958. Isn't that amazing? And now it's got history. It was sold to Australia. Huge race history in Australia. And it's lovely to see it back here at Goodwood, and well, in a battle for what is going to be potentially second or third, a potential podium finish anyway. But Nigel Greensall is still keeping that pressure on right now. So back on board with Lotterer, and Lotterer's now got a chance to get Johnny Molan, number 23. That's Johnny Molan. Both of them are coming up behind a car that's being lapped. Oh, a couple of cars being lapped, in fact, and that's costing Lotterer a bit of space.
Yeah, Lotterer's not lucking in with the traffic here, is he, Ben, at the moment? But he's managed to navigate it quite nicely, or the best he can. Gordon Shedden now has set the fastest first sector of anyone in the race. So he's trying to chase down the Jarvis and Malvern car, and the gap there actually 1 second. So that's why he'll be setting purple sectors. Back to the battle for P2. Looks like the gap sort of stabilised. 8/10 of a second, so it's come down ever so slightly. Still 10 minutes of this race remaining, so plenty of opportunity to have a look. Is he going to have a look?
Interesting line he's taken. He's trying to find a different grip on the inside, and it seems to be working. Nigel Greensall may have a chance, but on the exit, in fact, Davidson will just about hold on.
Yeah, just about does enough through Ford water now. Little kiss of the inside curve there, and getting a little bit out of shape, and then they'll bleed down into the first part of some areas.
Nigel Greensall is still putting the pressure on, but it's so tricky in these damp conditions. In some areas, he's got fantastic pace, and he has just set a new fastest lap on that previous lap. But you could see that James Davison's doing a brilliant job as well. Off has got number 81. That's the Mike Malone, Ben Cousins car. Oh, that's a great shame. And this might, of course, cause a safety car period, mightn't it?
That this could, and the gap that the Bryant car, which is over 40 seconds, he's just done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:46.486. This will really heavily cut his lead, so we'll keep you updated to see whether the Malone and Cousins car can get out of the gravel, because this will really bunch up the field, and we've got some close battles. And actually, Ben, to say that the times are fairly similar, with everyone sort of trying to navigate some traffic, and when they lock in. But look, this gap is as close as it has ever been heading down the main straight.
Yeah, and at the moment, James Davison is having to work very hard. We're just seeing Nigel Greensall using a slightly different line this time, out of the chicane. He's still going to try that inside line once again. So, is Davidson going to stay around the outside? No, he can't this time, because Greensall has taken it. Greensall has gone into second place. I'm not sure. Can James Davidson come back? He's having a go at it. But I think Nigel Greensall made an absolutely perfect move. He's got a bit of traffic to kind of help him out here as well.
Yeah, and it has helped him out. The number 21 just shut the door, non-intentionally, of course, on the number 24, so had to feather out the throttle, a little bit more traffic. I'm just looking, I still think the 81 is stuck in the gravel. Here's a replay. Really brave stuff, but full of confidence on the brakes down into turn one. Managed to keep it, to get it stuck, keep it up nicely on the inside. And actually, I'm just hearing in my ear that the number 81 has just got out of the gravel, so we won't be seeing a safety car, much to Bryant's relief. 42.9 seconds is the gap at the front now.
Yeah, he still does have fastest lap, Ollie Bryant. As you say, it's a bit closer now in terms of the lap pace, but here we are with our race leader, and he's still setting some very rapid laps. This driver and car, what a great combination, and brilliantly done by Andrew Smith earlier in that first stint of the race as well. It's been a good combination, and it looks as though the Lotus Climax 15 is going to be taking victory in the first race here at the Goodwood Revival this weekend. But we've still got these great races going on between some other top drivers as well. Nigel Greensall now having, let's just, yeah, we've got a little bit of on board as well with our race leader. So this is a fun view. And you can just see that there's still quite a lot of work going on the steering wheel.
Yeah, there is. And I'm just looking a little bit further down the order. Lotterer last time around was only 8/10 of a second behind Molan. That's a battle for 7th place, and I'm hearing in my ear that he has just got past him, so we've got a change of position for 7th place. Lotterer making his way up. He's in the list of Jaguar and Knobblys, making his way past the Lotus Climax 15.
Here we go then, this is how it works. This is the onboard view of Andre Lotterer, and that was partly traffic, I think. Maybe Molan had to give a bit of a lift, I don't know, but it looked a bit like it. Yeah,
and the extra power there from the Lister Jag to able to boost his way past.
Always tricky when you find traffic at just the wrong moment and you have to lift off and you've got someone behind you who has a clear run on full throttle pretty much. But this has been some great racing between the pair of them. As you say, this is fighting for 6th position, so there's a little switch there. Lights on, lights important now as the sun has dipped away more and more as we go into evening here at Goodwood. and a day that has seen a lot of rain, but thankfully a little bit drier for this final stage. But not a track that's got easy by any means, and we've seen them all slipping and sliding around.
And now, best first sector overall was Scott Mulvin. He's chasing down Gordon Shedden. That gap was 1.1 seconds going across the line. I can tell you now from the sector times it's going to be much closer than that. We'll try and pick them out at some point. They'll be coming into sector 2 shortly. So throughout the field then, we've got some really good battles going on. Lotterer has opened the gap between Molan now, so he's in a little bit of free air. There's our third place car, the Wills and Davidson car, which has just dropped 3.3 seconds off the Spears and Greensall car. So that gap, and here we go. So this is the number 17 is Gordon Shedden. Behind him is the 54, Scott Mulvin. So that gap has come down significantly. Scott's all over the rear of Gordon Shedden and Lister Knobblys, and then we've got Mulvin and the Lister Chevrolet Costin. And you can see the gap. Scott Mulvin a little bit more confident on the brakes there, as they're sliding around, desperately scrabbling for grip as they cross the line now. Just over 3.5 tenths of the second. Flames spitting out of the back of Scott Mulvin's car. He does his down chains, feathering the throttle through. So this battle raging, 4 minutes left to go, Ben.
Yeah, indeed. And you've got Chevrolet power in the second of these two, Jaguar power in the first. So in theory, the car behind has that 4 horsepower from the Chevrolet engine, but it's getting that power onto the track in these still slippery conditions, which is not easy. So it's helping him close up a little bit, but then getting onto the power in the right places, not overdoing it. That's a challenge. But I have to say, Scott Mulvin's been driving a really good race here, and he's putting Gordon Shedden under, as you say, some pretty serious pressure. This could be a change before we get to the end. Only 3.5 minutes to go. No doubt about the race leader, though. Ollie Bryant absolutely, totally in control right now, and it's further down the order that we're keeping an eye on some of these close battles. But again, it's lovely to watch talented drivers in older cars showing us just what they can do. And you see so much more sliding, so much more car control with these older cars than you tend to see with modern machinery with downforce and big slick tyres.
Yeah, and the traffic's going to play a little bit of a part too. The flame spitting, costing, benefiting ever so slightly there. The number 9 doing its best job to get out of the way. There we go, the flame spitting right on cue as they drift through Woodcote Corner. There is our race leader. 45 seconds is the gap. Just cruising round, just keeping it on the road, navigating the traffic, trying to stay out of trouble. And it's been a fantastic drive from Brian and Smith, both putting in an absolutely stellar stint. We've still got 2.5 minutes left to go, so I hope no commentators curse, but he's making his way across the line once again to take another lap, and not a personal best lap, but still very competitive.
Yeah, it is a good time. Still does some 147s, but others are in those 147s. And in fact, both Mulvin and Shedden were, this lap wasn't quite so quick, so they had a bit more traffic to play with, but the previous lap they were in the 46s. Not quite as rapid as Bryant had gone a little bit earlier, but very close to his time. They're coming up to pass another machine. That's the number 68 that they're going past. That is the Cooper Jaguar T38 of Manuel Elizabe and Tazia Otis. They're a bit further down the order, but it's always lovely. Whatever you're out in one of these classic, very valuable sports cars from the 1950s that provide such entertainment up front, but also for those drivers bringing cars that have great history to the Goodwood track that we can enjoy, whatever their position they're in. It's still a real joy for us to take in on board. We're still keeping an eye, though, on this one. Gordon Shedden versus Scott Mulvin. Gordon's doing it all just about enough at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. So he's got a little bit more the legs down the straight, maybe getting slightly better exit, but Mulvin a bit more comfortable on the brakes, and that would make sense. The Lister Costin has more aerodynamics compared to the Knobblys that Shedden is in, and they've got, however, Ben, I just saw up the road, they've got a whole host of traffic to overtake, which they will catch in the middle of this lap, if not at the start of it. But Scott Mulvin's particularly close, ducking in the back. We're going to have a look down the inside. He's very good on the brakes. Is he brave enough to have a go? No, Gordon Shedden covers it nicely, but they will have this traffic in front of them. You can see it there. They're in their own battles as well. And Ollie Bryant will come across. So this will be the final lap. So very interesting to see how the Shedden and Malvern battle will turn out. And there we go. They're in amongst the traffic already.
Yeah, and it's still very, very close between them. So is this going to make a change? As Gordon Shedden, number 17, is holding on to this position right now from the number 54 that is so close to Scott Malvern. As Scott Malvern's looking for any opportunity, and if he can get the traffic to work his way, there could be an opportunity to snap past and gain the place. Okay, it's not for a podium, but it would still mean a huge amount to pass a driver of Gordon Shedden's tremendous history, multiple British Touring Car champion, of course, and always very rapid here at Goodwood, whatever he's in. And Scott Malvern's thoroughly enjoying putting him under all this pressure. And he's still there, but he still hasn't quite found a way to get past. More traffic coming up ahead, but remember, the race leader is on his final lap here. And we're going to see that checker flag come out very comfortably indeed for Ollie Bryant shortly. Right, down into the end of this lap. They will get one more lap as well because the leader is behind them. So it's not quite over between these two.
It's got close. Scott Malvern's just set a personal best for anybody. So fastest overall in the middle sector, but Gordon Shedden's going to be compromised along with Scott Malvern into the chicane. They're going to be nose to tail. Gordon Shedden will be saying, please, please move out the way, whereas Scott will be saying, no, great, hold him up, stay there. This is an opportunity to try and make a move. Just having a look, Roland and Lotterer have traded places once again. So that was 7th and 8th, but here is Ollie Bryant, Ben.
Coming up towards the line as the checker flag comes out. The Sussex Trophy has taken victory by Ollie Bryant and Andrew Smith. A brilliant performance from both drivers. Andrew did all the work in the first part. Ollie Bryant's held it together with a huge lead in the second part, opened it up a bit more. He's ended up with fastest lap as well. And Ollie, who's had plenty of victories here at Goodwood over the years, is absolutely delighted. Every single good result here means a lot to him. And they have, as a family, a wonderful collection of very original cars. And on this occasion, it is the beautiful Lotus Climax 15 that has taken the success. Right, what's going to happen here then? Gordon Shedden is still fighting away. We're looking right now in second place. This is Nigel Greensall. Nigel Greensall, who has shared with John Spears to take the second place. Number 88 takes second place. Nigel Greensall waves as he goes across the line. So that's the battle for second that he took quite comfortably in the end, having got past James Davidson, who finishes in third. He's just gone over the line 1.4 seconds behind. Wasn't a big gap between them in the end, but this is the battle. Yeah, here we are. Here's the Shedden versus Scott Malvern battle that we've been watching for quite a few laps now, and it looks like Gordon's going to hold on, but is he going to?
Yeah, it's going to be a brave move down the inside of the final chicane, but Gordon's done it nicely. He's got the car stopped in the middle of Woodcote, got it rotated, got on the gas, got a great exit. This could be a little bit of a drag race to the line, but Gordon Shedden's had the upper hand on that. He got a little bit sideways, but so's Scott behind. But it looks like Gordon Shedden will just about hold the place.
That was a wonderful fight between these two. So clean, getting through traffic very efficiently. Well done to Gordon Shedden, because I think the power of the Chevrolet Power car was definitely a little advantage, but then the performance balance of that Mr. Jaguar was working so well through the corners, and it provided us with a very entertaining final part. Bit off the podium, but nonetheless it was great. But up front, it had been such a dominant performance by Andrew Smith and Ollie Bryant, and there you are on board as Ollie waves to the crowd.
Yeah, such a great display of driving, and apologies for getting you mixed up with your teammate Ollie. Helmet's looking very similar, but he actually lost fastest lap. It was the Wilson Davidson car that snatched fastest lap on the very last lap, just by 1/10 of a second quicker than Ollie Bryant, but he won't mind. I'm sure he won't mind. He comes up to stop on the start-finish straight, still waving to the crowd. A large crowd that still stayed here, so really appreciate that.